Ravan is described as the demon king of Lanka in the ancient Sanskrit epic of Ramayana and also in other ancient Hindu texts. Ravan is depicted and described as having 10 heads, although sometimes he is shown with only 9 heads because he has sacrificed a head to convince Shiva. He is described as a devout follower of Shiva, a great scholar, a capable ruler, and a maestro of the veena, a chordophone instrument. Ravan is also depicted as the author of the Ravan Samhita.
The origin of Ravana. The Rakshas clan considered themselves the Rakshak, or the guardians of the forest way of life that favors the strong and the cunning, where there are absolutely no rules, only brutal force. They naturally did not care too much for tapasya or yajna of the hermits or rishis until Somali saw Kuber, that is, Somali was the leader of a pack of Rakshasas who prowled in the jungles of the south. One day he encountered Kuber, the leader of the Yakshas, who had built a city of gold called Lanka on the island of Trikuta in the middle of the southern sea. He travelled around the world on a flying chariot, which he called the Pushpak Viman. Somali learnt that Kuber's mother was a Yaksha called Ilavira, but his father was a rishi called Vishrava. Knowledge of tapasya, yajna, and the Vedas obtained from his father had enabled Kuber to become so rich and powerful. Somali desired a child as powerful and capable as Kuber. So he asked his daughter Kaikeshi to go to Vishrava and have a child by him. That is how Ravana was born. Vishrava taught Ravana all about the tapasya, yajna, and the Vedas. Ravana expanded his mind so much that he needed 10 heads to accommodate all his knowledge and 20 arms to accommodate all his strength. His grandfather Somali constantly compared him to his step-brother Kuber. So Ravana grew up with the desire to be stronger, faster, and better than Kuber. He was determined to be the dominant one, feared and followed by all. It was not easy, for Kartavirya of the Haiheya clan had 1,000 arms, while he had only 20, and Vali, the monkey king of Kishkinda, had just one tail, but it was stronger than all of Ravana's arms put together. So Ravana invoked Lord Brahma and obtained from him a pot of nectar which he hid in his navel. As long as he had this pot of nectar with him, he could not be killed. Ravana then invoked Lord Shiva. He cut off his head and created out of it a lute called the Rudravina. Pleased with this, Shiva gave him a crescent-shaped sword called the Chandrahas that would always secure him victory in battles. Raising Chandrahas high above his head, Ravana overran the island of Trikuta with the Rakshas army, kicked out Kuber, and declared himself the king of Lanka and the master of the Pushpak Viman, much to his grandfather's delight and his father's disappointment. Kuber ran back to the Himalayas and sought refuge in the shadow of Lord Shiva. There he built another city, Alanka, the very opposite to Lanka, which is popularly known as Alaka. Both are your devotees, but whom do you prefer, Kuber or Ravana? Parvati asked her lord. Neither is really different from the other, the lord replied. They are, after all, half brothers. Ravana grabs, while Kuber hoards. Both believe that their identities flourish from their property. That is why they value things rather than thoughts. That is why they refuse to expand their minds, even though both are sons of a Brahmin. Lord Shiva has answered.